Humans were known throughout the galaxy as the equivalent of puppies, cute, curious, and completely non-threatening. This image remained unchallenged until Private John Jaws Mallory did the unthinkable. "Did you hear about Mallory?" Sergeant Clear's nasal voice cut through the canteen chatter aboard the Interstellar Alliance cruiser, Venture. Corporal Zith, a Triaxian with 3 eyes and skin like polished marble, swiveled all 3 eyes toward the sergeant. "What now? Did he trip over his own feet again?" Zith snickered, his mouth full of the bluish goo that passed for Triaxian cuisine. "No," Clear said, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. "He bit off a Kian's face." The canteen fell silent. Utensils clattered to trays as all eyes turned toward Clear. The Crans, a race of bug-eyed amphibians, were infamous for their arrogance and short tempers. Mallory's action was not just a breach of interspecies etiquette. It was potentially a declaration of war. "You're pulling my leg," Zith said, his voice cracking with disbelief. "Humans don't bite. They barely even fight." Clear's expression remained serious. "I'm not joking. They had to drag him off the Kion. There was a lot of blood." At the far end of the canteen, Lieutenant Commander Ral Shear, a towering Xander with 4 arms and skin like molten silver, listened intently. He tapped his comm badge. "Security, bring Private Mallory to the briefing room immediately." Mallory sat in the interrogation room, hands cuffed to the table. His uniform was stained not just with blood, but with the unmistakable slime of a Kian. Across from him sat Commander Ral Shear, his 4 arms folded in a display of restrained patience. "Private Mallory, do you understand the gravity of your actions?" Ral's voice was calm, but carried an undercurrent of controlled fury. Mallory's eyes, bloodshot and wild, locked onto Ral's. "I understand," he said in a low growl, "and I'd do it again." Ral's eyes narrowed. "Explain yourself. What could possibly drive you to such barbarism?" Mallory leaned forward, the chains clinking with the movement. "They pushed me too far. The Crans think they can do whatever they want to us. Insult us, threaten us, treat us like we're nothing," I snapped. Ral sighed. "Diplomacy is delicate, Mallory. Your actions could lead to severe repercussions for Earth and its standing in the Interstellar Alliance." Mallory's jaw tightened. "With all due respect, sir, maybe it's time they saw we're not as harmless as they think." Ral's communicator beeped. "Commander, the Kian ambassador is demanding an audience. He's very upset." Ral stood, all 4 hands moving to straighten his uniform reflexively. "Mallory, stay here. We'll deal with this. But your future on this ship is looking very uncertain." In the ambassadorial suite, Ral faced Ambassador Thrak Athian, whose eyes bulged even more than usual in a display of fury. "This is an outrage!" Thrak's voice was a high-pitched screech, his gills flaring with each word. "Your human attacked my officer without provocation." Ral held up a hand. "Ambassador Thrak, we are conducting a thorough investigation. Rest assured, Private Mallory will be severely disciplined." "Disciplined?" Thrak spat. "This is an act of war. Humans are nothing but savages, and this proves it. I demand justice." Ral's eyes hardened. "And you shall have it. But understand this, Ambassador. Humans are part of the Alliance. They may be different, but they are under our protection." Thrak's eyes narrowed. "Protection from whom? Themselves?" Ral leaned forward, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "From anyone who underestimates them." The aftermath of Mallory's outburst spread through the ship like wildfire. Humans, once seen as the weakest link in the Alliance, were now viewed with a mix of curiosity and fear. The Crans demanded Mallory be handed over for trial on their home planet, while Earth's representatives argued for leniency, citing psychological stress and provocation. In the shadows of the cargo bay, Mallory found himself surrounded by a group of his fellow soldiers. Zith stepped forward, his 3 eyes scrutinizing Mallory with a new, wary respect. "Jaws, huh?" Zith said, a hint of a smile curling his alien lips. "Didn't know you had it in you." Mallory shrugged. "I didn't either." A human soldier, Jenkins, clapped him on the back. "About time someone stood up to those slimy bastards." The group murmured in agreement. For the first time, Mallory felt a strange sense of camaraderie among his peers. He had always been the odd one out, the butt of the jokes. Now he was something else. Something new. "What's going to happen to me?" Mallory asked, looking around the circle of faces. Jenkins grinned. "Well, first, we're going to make sure you get a decent meal. And then, who knows? Maybe they'll kick you out. Maybe they'll make you a hero. Either way, you've changed things." Mallory nodded slowly. "Yeah, I guess I have." Back in the briefing room, Ral was deep in conversation with Captain Draxus, the imposing leader of the venture. "He's a liability," Draxus said, his voice a low rumble. "The Crans won't let this slide. We might have to consider extradition." Ral shook his head. "That would be a death sentence. Humans are part of this crew, and we don't abandon our own. We need to find another way." Draxus sighed. "And what do you suggest? A diplomatic miracle?" Ral's eyes glittered with determination. "Something like that. We need to show the Alliance that humans are more than just their reputation, that they're capable of great things and terrible things." As the days passed, tensions aboard the venture simmered. Mallory remained in confinement, but his actions had sparked a change. Humans were no longer the harmless oddities they once were. They were unpredictable, dangerous, and perhaps more valuable than anyone had realized. In the shadows of the ship, whispers of rebellion began to grow. The weak had found their teeth, and the galaxy was about to learn just how sharp they could be. Private Mallory's outburst had far-reaching consequences. Much like a stone dropped into a pond, the ripple effect of his actions began to spread, reaching the far corners of the Interstellar Alliance. In the dimly lit war room of the Keon flagship, Admiral Vordo fumed. How could one human cause such chaos? His amphibian skin glistened with the moisture of his fury. Ambassador Thrak, who had returned to the Keon ship after his confrontation with Ral, trembled under the Admiral's glare. "They are more unpredictable than we thought, Admiral, but we must not let this insult go unpunished." Vorto's eyes narrowed. "Indeed. If the humans want to show their fangs, we shall respond in kind. Prepare our forces. We will remind the Alliance why the Crans are to be feared." Meanwhile, aboard the Venture, Commander Ral Shear and Captain Draxus were in the middle of a strategy session. "Our intelligence reports indicate increased Keon activity," Draxus said, pointing to a holographic map displaying the movements of various Keon ships. "They're mobilizing." Ral nodded grimly. "We need to prepare for the worst. If the Crans retaliate, this ship will be the first target." Draxus turned to the security feed displaying Mallory in his cell. "What about him?" "He's a catalyst. We can't just leave him to rot." Ral considered this. "We need to turn this to our advantage. If we can show the Alliance that humans are more than just their impulses, that they have value and strength, it might change the tide." Draxus raised an eyebrow. "And how do you propose we do that?" Ral smiled, a rare and unsettling sight. "We let Mallory prove it himself." Mallory sat in his cell, staring at the ceiling. The adrenaline had long since worn off, leaving him with a gnawing sense of unease. The door hissed open, and Ral entered, accompanied by Jenkins and Zith. "Private Mallory," Ral began, his voice firm. "You have a choice to make. You can stay here and let events unfold around you, or you can step up and show the galaxy what humans are truly capable of." Mallory sat up, his eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" Jenkins stepped forward, grinning. "We're putting together a special ops team. High risk, high reward. We need someone who can think on their feet and handle themselves in a tight spot. Someone who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty." Zith nodded. "And someone who has a point to prove." Mallory felt a surge of something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. "What's the mission?" Ral unfolded a small holographic device, projecting the image of a Keon battleship. "We have intel that the Crans are planning a major offensive. We need to infiltrate their ship and sabotage their efforts. It's dangerous, but if we succeed, it could prevent a war." Mallory looked at the faces around him. These were his comrades, his friends. He stood up, squaring his shoulders. "I'm in." Ral nodded approvingly. "Good. Get ready. We leave at dawn." As the team prepared for their mission, the atmosphere on the Venture grew tense. Rumors spread like wildfire, and the crew members, human and alien alike, watched Mallory with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The cute, non-threatening image of humans was being rewritten in real time. In the dead of night, the Special Ops team launched in a stealth shuttle, slipping through the void toward the Kian battleship. Mallory, Jenkins, Zith, and a few other hand-picked soldiers moved with practiced precision. They breached the Kian ship's hull and navigated the labyrinthine corridors, avoiding patrols and security systems. At the heart of the Kian ship, they found their target, the main power core. Zith worked on planting the explosives while Jenkins kept watch. Mallory's heart pounded in his chest as he guarded the entrance, every shadow a potential threat. Just as Zith finished, a squad of Kian soldiers rounded the corner. "Intruders!" one of them hissed, raising his weapon. "Move!" Mallory shouted, opening fire. The corridor erupted into chaos as laser bolts flew. The team fought their way back to the shuttle, the ship's alarms blaring. As they blasted away from the Kian battleship, the explosives detonated, sending a shockwave through space. The Kian ship was crippled, its offensive halted before it could begin. Back aboard the Venture, the team was met with cheers and applause. Mallory, once the butt of jokes, now stood as a hero. Captain Draxus addressed the crew. "Today, we showed the galaxy that humanity is a force to be reckoned with. We are more than our reputation, more than our impulses. We are strong, we are brave, and we are united." In the aftermath, the Interstellar Alliance reevaluated its stance on humans. No longer seen as mere curiosities, they were now respected members of the galactic community. As for Mallory, he had found his place, not as a harmless puppy, but as a warrior, a protector, and a symbol of humanity's true potential. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. With the success of their mission, the Venture's crew enjoyed a rare moment of respite. But the looming threat of Kian retaliation kept everyone on edge. The Crans were not known for their forgiveness, and their pride had been deeply wounded by the Venture's daring sabotage. In a darkened conference room, the top brass of the Alliance, including Captain Draxus and Commander Ral, convened a strategy meeting. They were joined via holographic communication by high-ranking officials from Earth and other member planets. "We have reliable intelligence that the Crans are planning a counterattack," Ral began, gesturing to a holographic map that highlighted key Kian positions. "Their main fleet is regrouping, and they are not likely to underestimate us again." An ambassador from the Thal, a species known for their strategic acumen, spoke up. "Our surveillance indicates that the Crans are massing their forces near the Calthor Nebula. It's a staging ground. If they launch from there, they could strike deep into Alliance territory." Captain Draxus nodded. "We must prepare for a full-scale conflict. But we also need to show that the Alliance stands united. Humans have proven their worth. Now, we must leverage that unity to face this threat." The Earth representative, a seasoned diplomat named Leandra Holt, leaned forward. "I propose a joint task force, combining our strengths, humans, Triaxians, Thal, and others. We need to demonstrate our solidarity and our collective might." Ral looked at Mallory, who had been invited to the meeting as a symbol of human resilience. "Private Mallory, your actions have had far-reaching consequences. Your courage has inspired many. We need that spirit now more than ever." Mallory felt the weight of their expectations, but also the burning resolve to protect his home and newfound comrades. "I'm ready to do whatever it takes," he said firmly. As preparations for the joint task force began, the Venture's crew worked tirelessly to retrofit their ship for the impending battle. Engineers and technicians from various species collaborated, their combined expertise transforming the Venture into a formidable warship. The crew trained together, honing their skills and forging bonds of trust. Mallory found himself at the center of this effort, not just as a fighter, but as a leader. His fellow soldiers looked to him for inspiration, and he rose to the challenge. On the eve of the battle, the task force gathered in the Venture's hangar bay. Soldiers and officers from different worlds stood shoulder to shoulder, united by a common purpose. Captain Draxus addressed them, his voice echoing through the bay. Tomorrow, we face a great challenge. The Crans believe they can divide and conquer us. But we will show them the strength of our unity. We will fight not as separate species, but as one alliance, for freedom, for peace, for our future. The soldiers cheered, their resolve hardening. As they boarded their ships, Mallory felt a surge of pride. They were ready. The battle at the Calthor Nebula was fierce and unforgiving. The Alliance fleet, led by the Venture, clashed with the Keon forces in a maelstrom of laser fire and explosions. Mallory and his team fought with everything they had, their coordinated efforts pushing back the Keon advance. Amid the chaos, Mallory found himself face to face with a Keon commander, their eyes locked in a moment of mutual recognition. It was the same Keon whose face he had bitten during their first encounter. "You again!" the Keon hissed, raising his weapon. Mallory grinned, his teeth bared. "You bet. Let's finish this." They clashed, a brutal, desperate fight for survival. Mallory's training and determination gave him the edge. He disarmed the Keon and delivered a decisive blow, ensuring the enemy would never threaten them again. With the Keon flagship disabled and their fleet in disarray, the Alliance emerged victorious. The Crans, faced with overwhelming resistance, were forced to retreat. Back on the Venture, the crew celebrated their hard-won victory. Captain Draxus addressed the Alliance in a broadcast, his pride evident. "Today, we have proven that together, we are unstoppable. Humans, Triaxians, Thal, and all members of the Alliance, we are stronger as one. Let this victory be a testament to our unity and our resolve." As the cheers echoed through the ship, Mallory stood among his comrades, a sense of fulfillment washing over him. He had found his place, not just as a soldier, but as a hero of the Alliance. In the days that followed, the Interstellar Alliance entered a new era of cooperation and mutual respect. Humans were no longer seen as mere curiosities, but as valuable allies and warriors. The galaxy had witnessed their strength and determination, and the image of the harmless human was forever changed. Mallory continued to serve aboard the Venture, his legend growing with each mission. He had become a symbol of humanity's potential, a reminder that even the smallest spark could ignite a fire of courage and unity. And as the Venture sailed through the stars, its crew knew that they were not just members of the Alliance, but its champions, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might throw their way. The adventures of Private John "Jaws" Mallory had only just begun, and the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again.